So in this week's video, what we're going to be jumping back into is actually a bit of a different one, and it's going to be swaying into survival games. And with that, I'm going to be giving you my opinion on what I think are currently the best survival games that you should play or try in 2026. They're the games that I think hold the most promise currently long term and as of now, and that I'd like to see get bigger, and just genuinely survival games I enjoy and think others would enjoy too. And just to add to that, I have over 30,000 hours in Ark Survival Ascended and Ark Survival Evolved over many years, probably 11-12 years, and I am definitely a survival veteran, not just an MMO veteran. And I played very competitively, as you'll know if you watch my other Azrael's Ark or you watch the previous videos I did. So I do have a lot of experience with this, and I definitely do have a certain taste. But without rambling on anymore, let's just jump right into the video. So the first survival game on my list should come as no surprise if you've been on my channel before, as this is a game I've played quite a bit on the channel, and I've also made a full separate channel for that, and the game is Ark Survival Ascended. Now, Ark Survival Ascended is remastered and expanded version of Ark Survival Evolved, and it contains all the content on the original plus some new content like Lost Colony, Fantastic Tames and Bob's Tall Tales, adding to all the content of the original but with more DLCs to come, such as Dragantopia due in Q4 of 2026 and Atlantis due in Q1 of 2027, and the Legacy of Santiago due in Q4 of 2027, which will tie in the narrative of Ark 2. Obviously, we know Ark 2 is a fair bit out and it's probably going to be delayed again, but this is good to see that they're adding this in and getting a bit of freshness into the game. For someone who's played this for over 12 years, it is nice to see, and it keeps us going, and really hoping in the next 3 or 4 years we see Ark 2 and we see what we're doing with it. But clearly, Ark Survival Ascended is also a bit of a testing pool. If you feel like Ark's been going too long and you actually can't get into the game, it would probably be a great time to jump into Ark Survival Ascended right now, as Genesis 1 is due to come out on June the 25th, which isn't honestly that long away at the time of recording this video. This shows that Ark is not just surviving, it's thriving compared to other survival games, with genuinely one of the most active player base, especially when it comes to PvP or PvE, or just RP in general. There's just so much to the game. But why should you play Ark? Well, in my opinion, it has one of the best taming systems compared to other survival games or MMOs, where the creatures are the main focus of the game, not just a side activity that doesn't really affect the game. It also has a long-term grind that is a lot stronger than most other survival games, especially if you're on a PvP server, where you can essentially be set back to step 1 and able to lose everything apart from your character. Not only that, but it also has one of the best modern communities in all the survival games, in my honest opinion, where the mods can essentially totally overhaul the game. And the best part is no server is ever really the same. Each server, especially again on PvP, will have its own rivalries, dramas, stories, lore, which make the playthrough always feel different. This is why I've been playing it personally for over 11 years across multiple different maps and versions, including ASC to ASA, and have over 35k hours, and genuinely is probably one of the best survival games I've ever came across, and I've never really got too bored with playing it. I can always go back. I'm currently getting ready to do another playthrough on a PvP no wipe server, and it is just amazing. And if there was more like a cross arc or something different, I probably would be playing it daily. But yeah, just because I've got older and kids, I'm not as hardcore as I used to. But you don't need to be. There's PvE, PvP servers, and there's massive unofficial servers that have brilliant support and even offer offline raid protection. This is probably one of the most diverse communities of all games, or even survival games for sure, and hands down I think it's one of the best survival games out there. I think Ark 2 is going to blow up again, and I think it's got another long life ahead of it for Ark 2, and Ark Survival Ascended, I think you're easily looking at another 6 or 7 years till Ark 2 comes, and then inevitably they'll do what ASC did. But what I will say as well is Ark Survival Evolved, even though it's not open, there's no official servers anymore, it still has a massive audience of people playing consistently and a massive unofficial network, which is crazy, but it's really good to see. And not only that, they've expanded the IP out into an Ark series, so if you're keen on that and you like animated shows, I would definitely give it a watch, because it might make you want to jump into the game after watching it. And there's even talks about doing 2 or 3 movies. Vin Diesel's even done voice acting for the ending of Ark 1 that was meant to lead in Ark 2, but it's now Ascended, but you kind of get where that's going. It's going to be a good thing to keep an eye on in the future for survival games, so definitely don't sleep on this one. Also, if you are looking for content on this, head over to my Azrael's Ark channel, hit that subscribe button, because all of the Ark content will be over there. I will cover Ark 2 and other bits and bobs on this channel. If you really want to keep consistent with our content, Azrael's Ark channel is definitely the one to be heading over, because I'll have a lot of content in there and there's already some good playthroughs so far. Next up is Rust, which is probably one of the biggest and most popular survival games in the genre, with over 140k people as of the time of recording this video playing every single day. Even though the game has been out since 2013, not only do the numbers show how much the game is loved and holds its survival community, so do the reviews on Steam, with it having a very positive rating, which with all the bugs and jank that come with survival games is quite an unusual thing to find. So why is Rust worth playing? Well, Rust plays a totally different way than Ark due to the fact that it has very little long-term progression, as most servers are wipe servers where your progress will be wiped, as the longest Rust wipe on official servers is 1 month, which gives it a very clear gameplay loop where you spawn naked, start gathering, build your base, improve it, fight and raid other players for loot. The server wipes and you repeat. A lot of people love this cycle as they can pick up and play it whenever they have time without there being too much of a consequence for not playing compared to Ark, where you would fall behind if you were on a no wipe server. And I think this definitely caters to a lot of people that maybe are busy and like, well, I've got 2 weeks where I fancy doing a bit of gaming, I'll jump into this 1 week wipe, a 2 week wipe. It's definitely accessible, and I think this is why we have show your numbers on this game. I hope they bring out another iteration of Rust or something similar, and they do really well. I know the company that behind them was actually looking at buying New World, so we'll see if they develop on that, or maybe that becomes part of it. Not a survival game, but who knows what it could become if these guys did buy it, because it definitely was originally meant to be a survival game. So I think the people that make Rust are a really good company, and yeah, I definitely have a lot of respect for people that are going to be this consistent and stay with a game. Personally, I don't play it a lot myself, I'm not a big fan of it, but I do respect what it is. But not only that, like Ark, even though Rust is a very old game at this point, it still receives support and updates from Facepunch, with the official 2026 roadmap featuring naval content, a new terrain renderer, server browser updates, anti-cheat improvements, and a lot more additions are coming, as well as skins and whatnot. For me, I prefer long-term stability that Ark holds, but I can see why some people prefer Rust, as it's a great survival game and I would give it a check out if you're looking for something fresh and new, and it might be something you get hooked on for definite. But do know it's very hardcore, it's full PvP, it's definitely fun, but it's not for everyone. But clearly a lot of people like it, with over 140,000 people playing every day. Next up is another favourite on the channel, and that is Palworld, and everyone who follows the game is currently waiting for the 1.0 announcement, which looks like it's not going to be just an update, it's going to be a full overhaul of a lot of the game, but also it's going to be adding a lot of new content. If you want to know more about Palworld or a bit of a deeper dive, I have a lot of videos on the channel, so don't forget to head over to my videos that I've covered everything you should know about in full for 1.0 and other stuff. It's all there, so if you want more info on that, because this is just kind of a bit of a sift through basic information to give you the best survival games currently, a lot of stuff there, a lot of content. We even ran our own unofficial server, had a lot of fun there, and it was quite a nice steady that we'd run, and there's a lot of unofficial communities around this. But why should you play Palworld compared to other games on the list? Well, Palworld is a lot less punishing compared to Ark and Rust. It's also a lot more simplified, and it won't leave you feeling overwhelmed, especially if you're just dipping your toes into the survival genre for the first time ever. This could be a nice way to start, and if you do like Pokemon vibes, yeah, 100%. There's some good little lore there and a little bit of story too. So another thing, like the tames in Ark, the pals are not just side content, they're the core of the game, where the pals fight with you, gather resources for you, craft items, they even run your base, transport goods, and help you explore the map. Not only that, but the base building in Palworld is super useful, as it becomes essential to make your base more efficient, to make your pals work harder, to get more gear, and just kind of have a little simulated world and home for your pals and for yourself, and also defending against raids and just progression in the game. If you're on a PvP server, this is even more vital. It also works both well for solo or co-op players, a lot better compared to other games, as it's a game where you can play it a bit more chilled, unless you're like me and want to go play it on a PvP server. But there's also massive unofficial PvE servers and an official network where people play it online, kind of like a mini MMO, kind of Ark, Rust, Conan vibe. But there's wipe servers and there's no wipe servers, so there's a lot going on with this game. I actually think it's brilliant. It's one of the biggest survival games around at the minute, as you can check out on Steam. Crazy reviews, a lot of positivity. They're expanding the IP. Looks like they're going to win the lawsuit against Nintendo, which is good, because Nintendo are like pretty much despicable in my my eyes for what they're doing at the minute, and they have battled them in court, so absolute respect to these guys for fighting that, because some of the lawsuits these guys got hit with was just stupid, and it was just out of sheer fear that Nintendo was going to have real competition for once. But these guys are looking like they're going to win that, which is awesome. They're helping indie developers. I have actually had personal experience with Bucky, one of the guys that's high up in the company. I won't get too much into it. Bit of an issue with some things going on, totally out of my control. The guy was absolutely amazing. The comms are amazing, and I have massive respect for this company. Even got in the content creator program, was given some games to give away and whatnot. And yeah, I just think they're a brilliant company. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that, but just when you've got someone like that in the gaming industry that sets a standard, this is what we need in the future of gaming. We really need guys that are passionate and care about games and care about the player base and strive to make a better game. So if you're looking for a survival, PvP, PvE, PvX, whichever vibe you're going for, that has tames that you can breed, raise, and all this amazing stuff that you can get involved in, Palworld is definitely one to check out. And if you're not keen yet, check out my other videos. There's a lot of explanations and a lot of stuff in there. It also still does have a healthy population, which is always a good thing, and that does mean that Pocket Pair will likely continue to develop and update well after 1.0, and they've already stated that. Even now, with such a good player base, this is probably the deadest the game will be, and there's still people playing, and it's still got a lot of people enjoying the content. So when 1.0 drops, you're going to see this blow up. So next on the list is Soulmask. Soulmask is one of the newest games to reach 1.0 and release back in April. It's consistently getting patched, and it makes sure a lot of the bugs and issues are getting fixed. There's definitely still a lot going on with this game and a lot of issues. It is a Chinese game, and this is quite common. Same with Myth of Empires. If you check them videos out, you'll see you had a lot of enjoyment out of them games, but I do wonder if there's much longevity in this game. Where Rust is about PvP pressure, Ark is about creatures, and Palworld is about pals. Soulmask Hooks is tribesmen, recruiting them, controlling them, training them, and automating the jobs, becoming them and turning your settlement into a working civilization. Soulmask is definitely a game that takes some getting used to, as with most survival games, to be honest. In Soulmask, there is a unique mechanic that allows you to essentially become one of the tribesmen you've recruited, and this allows you to progress further than you could on your main character, as your base character has limits on its proficiencies. Not only that, but Soulmask base official PvP servers do have built-in raid timers, which means it's a bit more casual when it comes to PvP, as it has a small raid window where you can get attacked, compared to Rust and Ark, where on official servers it mostly is 24/7 PvP and no raid protection. As like Rust, they also do offer wipe servers if that's something you'd prefer. However, on their official network, these aren't as popular as Rust. What I will say is I've had a good bash on this twice now, had a good playthrough, but there is definitely some broken mechanics, especially with the ship, because it can come right next to your base and absolutely decimate you. So do know it has a niche player base on PvP servers. You will have to go hard and commit to this. If you don't, you're probably going to get wiped, but you could make your own unofficial server, and you could play some of the more PvE servers, and hopefully that would work for you as well. It's definitely a good game, but unfortunately, I don't mean to sound too harsh, a lot of these Chinese games, whether it's MMOs or survival games, they don't seem to build for longevity, and as of now, they've actually said they're dropping some of the ticket support for cheating and some of the other exploits, which to me kind of says this game is going to go the wrong direction now. But if you're looking for a play on your own or with a few mates away from the online official network, yeah, you could have a lot of fun with this, but it's definitely personal preference. But I do like what they've done for the survival genre, how they've innovated, and hopefully this can inspire some future survival games to take some of this stuff and implement it into their games, because it's definitely pretty amazing. And the last survival game on my top 5 is RuneScape Dragon Wilds. Bit of an odd one, yeah, for definitely not something I think a lot of people watch the channel or maybe in the guild community would think. Now, this game is the only one on my list that does not have its own official servers, and the max players for RuneScape Dragon Wilds is 6 players currently. Now, GX are looking to increase this cap further in the future update, so that's something to keep an eye on, and I would really hope that this is some kind of test for the future MMO survival MMO game, because it's one hell of a game, and I really was a big fan of RuneScape growing up, and these guys at GX do amazing things. What RuneScape Dragon Wilds offers is a survival game for those who are fans of long-time progression of RuneScape. Dragon Wilds uses familiar RuneScape styled ideas, skills, deities, quests, runes, magics and creatures, and lore in a way that blends it into the survival elements, and it does it well. The monsters, dragons, factions, ruins, gods, magic and world building are all there to make it feel like part of the RuneScape universe, rather than some random fantasy survival game. That matters because RuneScape appeals has always been more than just leveling. It's also about the weird creatures, odd quests, strange places and old gods, and even discovering lore while skilling or fighting. It's why old school RuneScapes is still a very successful MMO till this day and has a huge player base. Dragon Wilds leans into an anime powered magic when it comes to gathering aspects such as exploring ore veins, conjuring tools, shielding yourself and using RuneScape flavoured spells like turning bones into peaches. This gives it a totally different feel from your usual survival game, and it makes it stand out from the crowd of other fantasy survival games. It does have a decent amount of quests and lore which give you a clear fantasy adventure compared to other survival games, and each region is meant to add quest lines and story progression. And it being well supported by Jakes, with it already receiving 2 DLCs and it having a decent roadmap for the rest of 2026 with another 2 DLCs to come, and also several minor updates for the game that's still in early access. This really is good development and a lot of extra content, especially when all of this is free apart from the early access purchase cost. I definitely think it's a game worth checking out and playing. I think it's a good one. It's definitely something that they might be working towards dropping an MMO survival game more online. I would love to see that, but who knows, only the future can tell that. So they're my current top 5 survival games that I think people should play in 2026, and yes, a lot of them are more PvP focused, but that's just due to the games I play being more PvP focused. There are tons of other survival games out there that will appeal to players looking for less PvP experience like Valheim, Icarus and tons of others, so definitely give them a look too, and I'll probably cover them in a future video. Let me know down in the comments what your favourite survival game is and why people should play, and if you think I've missed a few things that should have been added, which no doubt I will have because I've had to skim through them because of so many in this video. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button because it really does help me out, and also so you don't miss out on any future content. If you're looking for a guild or community to talk about MMOs, survival games, you can always head over to discord.gg/Nephilim and get involved there. Give the video a like and a share if you've enjoyed the video so I know to keep making content like this, and as always I really do appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.